This phone is unlike anything that I've seen before. The main reason is, of course, that display. It's a matte screen. But what's the big deal? You could just stick a matte screen protector on your phone and call it a day, right? But none has done it as coherent as this phone. This is the TCL 40 NXTPAPER 5G, and in my opinion, this is the perfect phone for those who read stuff off of their phones. But this is still a review, so we have to go through our usual 8 points, but we'll be focusing particularly on two things: the display and also the design of this phone, because it is just that unique. So let's get started with the specs of the phone out of the way first. This is a 6.6-inch IPS LCD screen with 1612 by 720 pixels in resolution, and it goes up to 90Hz refresh rate. That in itself doesn't sound impressive, but that matte finish is very important. TCL is calling this the NXTPAPER, and I have no idea how they did this. It's either that they etch it directly onto the glass itself, or maybe it's just a coating on top. I'm not sure. TCL also calls this a paper-like display, but I think it is not as rough as a real piece of paper, but it's more like a smooth matte finish. But either way, it's just very impressive that they managed to pull this off. This is still indeed the highest quality matte finish that I've tried on a screen so far, and I've talked about many different types of screen protectors alongside with all of the pros and cons of each type. You can watch that video at the top right corner there just to know the differences between a matte screen protector and also a paper-like screen protector. But there is an inherent issue with matte displays. If the screen's individual pixel size is too small compared to the grain of the matte finish, then the color will be just really bad. That is why high-resolution screens do not come with a rough matte finish. And that is why the screen of this phone is at 720p. And to my eyes, I think this is a very good compromise. Now, matte screens are also funky in a way that the brightness level doesn't actually matter that much even though you're using the phone outdoors. That is because a matte finish will act like a light diffuser for the sunlight hitting on the screen and also for the light coming out of the screen. This video was filmed on a bright and sunny day, and while the screen does look darker than it is supposed to be to my eyes, in reality I can just read everything on the screen. No problems at all. The absolute maximum brightness of this phone, according to our colorimeter, is only 550 nits, by the way. If we're gonna use 550 nits on an OLED screen, for example, we are gonna have a difficult time reading what's going on the screen. Oh, there's another option here that we can enable so that the screen's brightness will drop down even lower than it is supposed to be. The lowest brightness that I managed to get this phone to shine at is 2 nits. And that is great for those who want to read books in complete total darkness, maybe before sleeping. I'm one of those people, by the way. And our colorimeter also reports that the colors coming out of this phone's screen are quite decent. We're getting about 84.59% of sRGB color gamut coverage with an extremely low delta E number. And to my eyes, I would say that even if we are just watching videos using this phone, it still looks good. I'm rather impressed with TCL's NXTPAPER screens. Of course, with a little bit more software trick, this display can be taken to the next level, making it the perfect phone for those who want to read books or whatever on this phone. Within the settings menu, there are two controls that I want to highlight here. Number one is the NXTPAPER mode. I'm not quite sure what's the idea here, but they just say that it's color paper. It's disabled by default, but once we enable it, it becomes desaturated. The other option here is ink paper, which just makes the screen to be kind of reminiscent of those e-ink displays, kind of like a Kindle. However, if we head into the next option that I want to highlight, which is the Next Vision setting, then there is another option here called Reading Mode, which also makes the screen become monochromatic, but it's a little bit more yellowish than before. It kind of emulates those kind of books. We can also make reading mode automatically turn on for a certain apps, so in my case here, I'll just add the Google Play Books to that list, and yes, this feature works flawlessly. And I'm not sure if I prefer the ink paper mode that we talked about before or this reading mode more, because I think between these two modes, it kind of boils down to personal preference. Now, other than that, I don't think there's anything much to say about the TCL UI here. It's very close to stock Android, but with a few additional features here and there, and I really do like the skin overall. It's clean. There is some bloatware built in, but I think it's not too bad. There are just some random games pre-installed, but we can uninstall it rather easily as well. But speaking of gaming, you have to manage your expectations. This phone is powered by the Dimensity 700 chipset, and while it's good enough for day-to-day use, I don't think it's good enough for anything intensive. For example, gaming. Let me just show you a brief view of what Genshin Impact will be if you're gonna play it on this phone at the lowest graphical settings. I mean, you're not buying this phone for gaming anyway, so just keep that in mind. To power up this device, it does come with a 5000 mAh battery, and it can last for a very long time, nearly 14 hours according to our standardized battery life test. And that means if you want to read books using this phone, then yeah, it can last for like 5 to 6 hours with no issues at all. But of course, depending on what's the brightness level. The higher you go, the lower the battery life is gonna be. However, the charging speed though is rather funky, I would say. On the official spec sheets of this phone, it says that the TCL 40 NXTPAPER 5G supports 15 watts charging, but upon closer inspection, the phone only comes with a 10 watt charger inside the box. That means it will take more than 2.5 hours to charge completely. So yes, I would have to say if you're gonna buy this phone, then you will have to charge it overnight. But if you do have a faster charger, USB PD for example, then yes, this phone does support up to 15 watts of fast charging, and it shortens the charging time by literally 0 minutes. Yes, it still takes around 2.5 hours to charge completely, but at least it can reach 50% at a much faster pace. Again, by just a few minutes, but it's there, it's significant. As for the design of this phone, I have to tip my imaginary hat to TCL for making such a coherently designed phone. The phone screen has a matte finish, but so does the frame of that screen. And the back though, I'm not sure how to describe it. It does have a matte finish as well, but it is slightly rubbery. No matter what it is, the grip on this phone is amazing. TCL also included a TPU case inside the box, but I don't really feel like using a case with this phone at all because it just feels so fantastic to grab. As for the cameras though, I'm not gonna talk much about it here because there are a total of 3 cameras on this phone, but I would say only one of them can be used to take pictures, and I don't think it's even that good. And here are just a few examples that I want to show you. And a few more things to mention before we end this review. If you want to just listen to music using this phone, then you can plug in an audio jack. TCL even included a pair of earphones in the box, but it kind of looks like they got it from 2005. Kind of like those Sony Ericsson earphones. Yeah. You can even convert this phone into a music player as well because it does have a micro SD card slot. However, transferring all of your files from your whatever other storage medium into the phone will be quite painful since it is using a USB 2.0 port at the bottom, but that's fine because I'm not expecting anything else. Now, to be frank with you, the price of this phone is 999 ringgit. I really don't know if people should buy this phone. To be brutally honest with you, I just don't think this phone is gonna be appealing for many people. For the specs that it offers, the price I would say is a bit too high, but if you can make full use of the unique NXTPAPER screen, then this phone will offer tremendous value, especially once again if you're reading books off of your phone, maybe during commute or something like that. But as far as I know, TCL does have other products using this NXTPAPER screen as well. I'm much more interested in the TCL NXTPAPER 10S, as it is a 10.1 inch tablet with the same matte finish, and once again, I'm really enjoying this screen. So yeah, reading books using a tablet should be much better than reading on a phone, right? Yeah. So what do you think about the TCL 40 NXTPAPER 5G? And will you buy this phone? Do let me know your thoughts and questions down in the comment section below, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Again, remember to subscribe and like this video, because more than 96% of you have not subscribed yet. Yeah, thank you in advance. I think 96 is the correct amount, because previously it was 97. It improved a bit. Yeah, I'll just show you on the screen here. Anyway, we'll see you guys in the next video. Fantastic phone.